Alright, so for this one, hello, it's week 6. This is the learning team point counterpoint assignment. But for this one, instead of looking at the normal, UOP screen, I'm going to just show you in my Word document because I've been tweaking stuff and I haven't posted it yet officially since we haven't officially started class yet and I don't have access to that. And say select one of the following topics for a point counterpoint assignment. Topic 1, so you pick just one of the two, whichever one makes you happy. They're both different and fun in their own ways. Let's start with topic 1. So clinical trials for cancer research. So first you're going to talk about clinical trials and their process, how it works, how they, what's the general process of having one, how's it created, what's it going to be, their steps, how's it been to scientific method, that kind of thing. And then you're going to explain the purpose of clinical trials and who funds them or supports them, any potential bias. So in here, why do we have clinical trials? We kind of said how they work. Now we say why we bother. And then who's funding them privately, nationally, and does that create any potential bias? Then we're going to have describe the pros and cons participants may face in choosing to participate in a clinical trial. So why might it be good? Why might it be bad? Is there any hoops they have to jump through? Describe at least 2 specific clinical trials involving cancer research. So you'll talk about 2 specific ones, and then in there you want to talk about the purpose of it, who's funding it, pros and cons for participants, what's doing kind of thing. Okay, so it's going to be basically, this was the general, and here's the specific case study for it. That's always good. And then we have asexual versus sexual reproduction as topic 2. So you're going to describe the asexual and sexual reproduction in general. Choose at least 2 organisms that can reproduce both ways and describe why they do so. So why do they reproduce? Like what situation would cause one specific of these species, so one specific snail, so let's just make one up. So the heather snail, when does it reproduce asexually? What's the situation? When does it produce sexually? What's the situation? Next section is describe the 2 organisms. This should be on the other side. Organisms, pros and cons for reproducing asexually and sexually. So, in general, why is asexual better? Why is asexual worse? Why is sexual better? Why is sexual worse? So, why in these 2 situations did they pick to do these 2 things? Okay? And then if you have another topic, let me know. Nobody ever does, but you surprise me. And then you need to have an at least 700-word paper of whichever topic you choose. Make sure it's APA. It's going to be points for format, points for references. You have to have at least 3 references. If you do not have 3 references, what is wrong with you? I mean, look at this. You need at least 1 for each of the species down here, and for the trials up here. So that's 2 covered. And there's how many people on a team? Come on, you could do that. I would say because you are doing a team, you might have 1 person cover each trial, 1 person cover each species, This is really heavy on that. So with a bigger team, you might break that up more. You might do extra species, whatever you feel like. And then you're going to click it all to the assignments tab. Let's look at the rubric, which is going to have just the point values again, but nice little check. So there's our rubric, just set up. It's a checklist. I like these because I can highlight as I did stuff. So just reminds you to point for that, 0.75 for that, 0.75 for that, and 1 point for this. So that means weight-wise, you're probably going to have a big chunk on describing everything and a big chunk on your 2 trials. And then it's 0.75 for grammar and citations. Make sure you have in-text citations, full references. It's week 6, you know the drill. You know how anal I am. Okay, so then on topic 2, you see it's 1 point for the general discussion of asex versus sex, and then 0.25 for our 2 organisms and why they do it, and then 1.25 for which better, what's worse. So here, this is going to be a little less, and these are going to be way deeper. But that makes sense because there's 2 specific stuff you're looking for. So this is going to be some general stuff that you can mostly get from the textbook and general research. Well, the other 2 you will have to do specific research. And then the same thing, 0.75, 0.7. So I hope this helped explain everything, give you an idea of where to start. I don't know if it gives you an idea of where to start. Clinical trials, might Google current trials. See what's going on. For this, you could say which one does both. I might just say I might start off with the more broad, what aphids produce sexually and asexually. then find your species, and then focus in on there. So like if there's one that interests you, start there, and then narrow it down to the specific dude you care about. I think that should pretty much do it. Just give yourself time. I know this week we only have one lab, so you should have hopefully a little bit more time to do the learning team assignments, but as always, just get started early. Start early will save the world. It makes it so much better if you just start. Even if all you start is do like, okay, we picked the topic, I'm in charge of like this point, I'm just going to do some general research and get a couple websites, you know, and like, okay, these look good to start with. And then a day or two later, you're like, okay, so let's look a little bit more detailed and take some quick like copy and pasting with the websites there so I can go back and cite everything correctly. Okay, like then the next day you write it up. Like if you do it in little steps, that works a lot better. Okay, I hope this helped. As always, rough draft review before noon on the due day.